Good morning, beloved. Peace be with you. Today in our first reading from Isaiah, chapter 58, we have a good, one of the examples of the Lord's type of fasting that he desires that we take up. And we can see right away from some of the descriptions and the things that are asked to do that please the Lord, that it's not, it's what we began, the theme that we began on Wednesday for Ash Wednesday. It's not, our fasting is not about what we're giving up, but it's more about what we're doing. And so let me just read a couple of these things that the Lord asks us to do, and he calls this a good fast. Let's read it just one more time. So he says, "This rather is the fasting that I wish, releasing those bound unjustly, untying the thongs of the yoke, setting free the oppressed, breaking every yoke of oppression, sharing your bread with the hungry." So we see God doesn't really care if we give up lunch. If I don't eat, he cares more that if I'm not going to eat, then give my lunch to somebody who doesn't have any food, right? It's about sharing with the hungry, sheltering the oppressed and the homeless, clothing the naked when you see them. So you don't care they're sitting in sackcloth, wearing sackcloth and ashes, hair shirts and stuff. He says, no, take your clothes and give them to somebody who don't have any clothes then. That's what's going to please me, not just making yourself suffer. Clothe the naked when you see them, not turning your back on your own. That's a pretty big statement right there. Not turning your back on your own. It's not so much what we're giving up, but what are we doing? We could tie it in line with how Jesus taught us. He said basically to go around and enforce God's will on earth as it's already done in heaven. Do on earth what's done in heaven. So we've said this many times before. There's nobody hungry in heaven, so there should be nobody hungry on earth. There's nobody you could say naked in heaven, so there should be nobody naked or without clothes on earth. Nobody without shelter in heaven, should be nobody without shelter on earth. Enforcing God's will on earth as it is in heaven. That's our purpose. And actually, Pope St. Leo the Great has a good teaching in one of his Lenten homilies. He says, what the Christian should be doing at all times should be done more intensely during Lent. What the Christian should be doing at all times should be done more intensely during Lent. And if you follow that line of thinking, that teaching, then actually we would never ask the question, what am I going to give up for Lent? We would never even ask the question, what am I going to do for Lent? Because what the Christian should be doing at all times should be done more intensely during Lent. So you would simply just take what you're already doing and do it more intensely. Pray more intensely. If you're fasting, fast more intensely. Works of charity, more intensely. Feeding the homeless, more intensely. Generosity, more intensely. Reading the scriptures, more intensely. What you and I should be doing at all times, we should be doing more intensely during Lent. So now we would ask the question, we could just do our follow-up. Not what are you going to do for Lent? What are you going to do more intensely for Lent?